That's so embarrassing.
I felt so dumb.
Can I just disappear?
Embarrassing Stories Podcast with Leslie and Derek. Welcome back to Embarrassing Stories. This is episode number 8. If you're a new listener, welcome. And if you're a returning listener, we're glad to have you back. Speaking of returning listeners, I wanted to shout out a few listener locations that we have been noticing on our stats. And most of these locations have consistently shown up. Salt Lake City, Utah, Los Angeles, California, Simi Valley, California, Denver, Colorado, Houston, Texas, The Colony, Texas, Anchorage, Alaska, Toronto, Canada, Blackheath, England, Perth, Australia, Lagos, Nigeria, and Clichy, France.
I bet you slaughtered that.
I probably did. I tried looking up the pronunciation of a couple of those, so hopefully I got it right, especially on the Nigeria and France. But those are just a few of the many locations that we've seen listens come in at. And we're incredibly grateful. Thanks so much for your support.
Yeah, you guys are blowing our minds. It's been so exciting. And we're so thankful for you guys.
So it's time to get rolling. You guys know the name of the game. It's Embarrassing Stories. And we have some great stories to share with you on this episode. And I'm going to be a gentleman, let ladies go first. So Leslie, you go ahead and share the first story with us.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
We've noticed a trend that you guys seem to really enjoy the flatulence stories. So,
yeah, for sure. Personally, I think they stink.
oh, you would.
Bad joke.
All right. This story is one of my own. And while I'm not being anonymous, the person that I was with and the other people in it, they are anonymous.
Are you sure you want them to be anonymous?
No. It's so much easier to just say the name, but I'm not going to do that. So I used to work out quite a bit, and I'd go to the gym, and I'd usually go with someone. Like I'd switch off going with friends, with siblings.
It's always funner with someone.
Yeah, it makes it funner. It makes it go faster. You can learn from each other.
Can push each other.
Mm-hmm.
Encourage each other, motivate each other.
Yeah, usually you don't want to look dumb, so you push yourself even further.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I went to the gym, and I was with Buddy. We'll just call him Aaron.
Okay.
So I went to the gym with Aaron, and we were getting our pump on. Like we were, lifting weights, and we're getting some great exercises in. We'd take turns on the different machines, and in walks in, and like I said, this was my friend, but in walks in two like really gorgeous girls, and he's kind of like, oh,
time to impress the ladies.
Yeah. So he gets on the squat machine, not the squat machine. Oh, the leg press.
Yeah.
He gets on the leg press, and for those of you who, don't know what it is, you get down low and sit, and your legs kind of go in front of you on this platform that has the weights, and you let the weights.
Your legs are angled up, and you just extend your legs and push the weight.
Yeah, your knees come into your chest, and then you push the weight and almost straighten your legs. Anyway, so Aaron had a whole ton of weight on his on his leg press. It was a lot of weight.
Did he bite off more than he could chew, or I guess we're getting to that, right?
We're getting to that. No, he could do it, but it took that pushing power, almost to the point where you're grunting, and those two gorgeous girls were they came in and they started exercising near us.
Mm-hmm.
and his knees go into his chest, and he goes to push the weight with his legs, and he's pushing pretty hard, and he farts.
Oh, geez.
Like, so loud.
Well, it's understandable. It can be hard to hold in some air when you're, dealing with a lot of weight and putting a lot of pressure on your body.
Yep. So it's really loud. They totally heard it. They they looked over at us, and there was probably, man, it felt like a 30-second pause. And I felt so bad for him. I totally debated just taking it for him.
That's a good friend right there. Everybody deserves a friend like that.
Because I could see his face going like magenta.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt so bad. And I was just thinking I could just be like, oops, sorry. Excuse me. But I can't remember if I did in the end. I probably didn't because I probably chickened out. But
oh, geez.
he was extremely embarrassed. And it wasn't, the thing was, it wasn't a packed gym. Like, there weren't hardly any people there. It was mostly just the four of us.
Oh, geez. That's even worse. Not much there to muffle the sound.
Yeah, poor guy. I can't even remember if he said excuse me or if we just were kind of like
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they understand that those things happen. It's probably happened to them before.
Not in public. I think Dare had a stinker for us.
From one gassy story to the next, except this one isn't a gassy one with me. This story comes from my sister Jacqueline.
Oh, Jacqueline.
And this one starts clear back when Jacqueline was in 4th grade. So she says, I went to a different 4th grade classroom for her reading group. Some of the kids that were in there were from other classes, so she only saw them every once in a while. One of the boys she sat close to had a crush on her, and she found that out through another classmate.
Oh, young love.
Yep. Anyway, she says one day she was sitting in the class, and she wasn't too far away from this boy, and she turned around to talk to someone, and guess what happened? When she turned around, she farted right then.
Oops.
And immediately the boy who liked her, whose name was Stan, and the kid that was next to him, whose name was Sean, they turned their heads. She said her face suddenly felt really hot, and she wanted to run and hide, which is normally how you feel after you do something like that.
Yeah, I would totally want to.
Yeah. She hoped so bad that no one had heard it, but it was too late. Stan, who's the boy that liked her, he asked, "Did you do that?"
Nope.
Nope. The quickest way she could think of to get out of it was to lie and say, "It was my chair, it squeaked." The old, "it's the chair's fault" trick.
That's a good excuse, though, because a lot of chairs sound...
Yeah, they're squeaky.
Yep.
Yeah. You can play it off that way. She said both boys could tell that she was lying after she said that.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
She didn't get away with it.
And no, that didn't pass. She said that's something you hope people forget and never bring up again. And she says, flash forward to 5 years later.
No.
So that was in 4th grade. So now she's in 9th grade. She's sitting in a room with Sean, who was one of the boys who witnessed her embarrassing moment in 4th grade. And there's also another boy in the room named Joey, who she said had a crush on her since 1st grade.
Oh.
So she's in a room with 2 boys, just the 3 of them. They're sitting in the room during English class, and they're about to take a test.
Mm-hmm.
So the atmosphere is really quiet. The room is quiet, and then out of nowhere, Sean says, "Hey, Jacqueline, do you remember when we were in 4th grade and you farted, but you told me the chair squeaked?"
What'd she say? Hey, moron.
Yeah, that's what she should have said.
Hey, moron, do you have nothing better in your life than to remember that? Have you done nothing in the last 5 years?
She says he purposely said that in front of Joey to humiliate her. He
Oh.
laughed, Joey laughed, and she was beet red, trying to play it cool, but wishing it could vanish in thin air, wishing the whole thing never happened.
Like her gas did?
Yeah, exactly. She couldn't believe he would bring it up and even remember it all those years later. That is kind of strange.
Yeah.
I guess somehow in 4th grade that experience planted itself in his memory, and kind of strange.
He either liked her or he didn't have anything exciting happen in 5 years.
Yeah. But it's interesting that both embarrassing experiences that she had happened in front of 2 boys that she was told like her.
Yeah, that was a double whammy.
Yeah.
And it took 5 years to come full circle. Sean, if you're listening, how rude.
Yeah, you're a jerk, man. Les, do you have another stinky story for us?
Well, it's stinky, but not in that way.
Okay.
It did happen in a bathroom.
Okay. Oh, well, let's hear it.
Okay, so this happened to me. Derek and I and our kids, we hadn't been to this certain buffet in a long time. It's a couple cities over from us, and we don't normally go there. We used to go there with his parents quite a bit, and our kids love this place because it's a buffet. They can choose what they want.
Yeah, it's fun. It's good for kids because there's a lot of variety, but the place is expensive.
Yeah.
Especially for a family like ours. We have, 5
7
kids, so 7 of us. It's not cheap.
Yeah. So we splurge and we go out to this buffet. And when we get there, we start getting food for the kids. We always feed them first. And out of the corner of my eye, I can see somebody that I used to know, and then I see a whole table packed with a family that I used to know. Like specifically, my sister dated one of the boys in that family. So my family knew him really well. So we go through, we're eating. I had had a baby maybe 3 months prior. Anyways, we ate our food, and then my daughter, near the very end, needed to go to the bathroom. And that whole time, I had been trying to avoid certain people in that family, because not only did my sister date the one boy in the family, I went on a date with his brother.
And was he there that day? Okay.
Yeah, and so and I didn't want to run into him.
Yeah.
Because we went on the date, and it was kind of he's a great guy, but nothing.
You knew you'd just be friends.
Yeah, and he didn't feel that way, so he kept trying to set up more dates, and I kind of had to let him down, and I tried to let him down easy. Anyways.
And then I came to her rescue.
Yeah. Exactly. No, so I didn't want to run into him, so I had purposely avoided the whole family that whole time. Fast forward to me taking my daughter to the bathroom at the end of our buffet meal, and right when I open the door, I walk into the sister, and she's right around my age. She's a little older than me, but for a second we stopped. Our eyes got big, and I was like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" And she was like, "Great. Oh my goodness, look at you." She rubbed my stomach and was like, "Holy cow, when are you due? It must be soon." And when I had walked in, I heard somebody flush the toilet, but they never came out of that stall. They knew something horrible was going down. Yeah. Something embarrassing was going down.
They're like, I'm going to sit here for a minute and just listen to this.
Yeah. So she was like, "Oh, you must be due soon." And I was just kind of like, nope, that's a food baby. My baby's 3 months old and is out with my husband. And she was like, "Oh no, I'm sorry." How old are your other kids? Like, hurry and change the subject.
It's when you should have been like, I'm not pregnant. I just had a kid, but we are at a buffet. That's why my stomach's so big. I'm loading up here. I'm getting my money's worth. Hello.
Well, it's like you see all the fitness people who are like super skinny and muscly, and they'll have like their cheat meal, and then they'll show everybody how big their stomachs got.
Yeah.
Just from that cheat meal because they're bloated. And so like go to a buffet and you're going to be bloated looking. But I also had a baby not very many months before. So yeah, I was bloated looking from that too, you know?
Yep.
All the while the person in the stall who had flushed the toilet never came out, was in there for like 3 minutes after flushing their toilet. I think they knew something horrible was going on out, or something awkward was going on out in the place where you wash your hands. So that's my embarrassing story.
Have you seen anyone in that family since?
No, but prior to that, I had seen multiple people in the family.
Yeah.
At like the hospital and various locations. But to run into them like multiple cities over, and they live out further than we do from this place.
Yeah.
Really awkward.
Yep.
Really awkward and embarrassing. So do you have a bathroom story for us, Derek?
I don't. My story, which is the last story of the episode, best for last. Just kidding. It involves the same sister that I mentioned earlier, my sister Jacqueline, except this was a little bit later. This was her senior year and my sophomore year. And the story isn't about her, but it involves a piece of property of hers.
Uh-oh.
And I don't believe I've ever told my sister this story, so sorry, Jack.
You're hearing it here and now.
But I swear I didn't damage anything. Okay.
Yeah, that's what you say now.
So my sister Jacqueline, she's played the flute since elementary school. She's amazing at it. And in high school, she was in the band and they were going on tour. So this was, I believe, towards the end of her senior year, my sophomore year. I had my driver's license. I was a pretty fresh driver.
Uh-oh, it's with a car.
Yeah. And my sister, she had a Suzuki Esteem. And it was a nice little car.
Nobody knows what that is anymore.
I know. Yeah, you don't see too many Suzukis. But so she would drive herself to school, and she had driven to school that day, but she was going on tour, so she was going to be gone for a few days.
Oh, wow.
And so the plan was I had a spare key, and I was going to drive her car back home that day, and just so it would be back home and it wouldn't be sitting at the school. No reason to have it, sitting there for a week or however long it was.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they don't allow that either.
Right.
Like they'll mark your car
Yep.
and get it towed.
Yeah, didn't want that to happen. So I had the key. I was going to drive it home that day. And I started thinking early on that day, you know what? I have her key. I have access to her car. Why don't I have a little bit of fun with it?
Uh-oh. Jacqueline, let me apologize to you for my husband's horrible actions this many years later.
Yeah, it was bad. So I get to my first class of the day. I make it through the whole class period. And then I think, you know what? I should grab a few of my friends and we should go, maybe get something to eat and then just kind of have a fun rest of the day. Slept some of our classes.
Oh, all the secrets are coming out.
They're all coming out.
That was the devil on your shoulder.
Oh, geez. Lots of skeletons in my closet on this episode. Ugh.
Yeah, you're sloughing. Oh.
That was a regular thing when I was in high school, unfortunately.
I never sloughed, not once.
We know you're a goody good.
Uh-huh.
So I find 4 of my friends and I say, hey, do you guys want to, go get a smoothie and then we can go check out, maybe go to the mall?
Sure, Satan.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Look around at some stores and they're like, heck yeah, let's do it. So we get in our car and we drive to Jamba Juice, which is just down the road a ways. It's maybe a couple miles away. And we get some smoothies. And we get back in the car.
Wait. For those of you who don't know what Jamba Juice is, it's like a fresh fruit smoothie place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when he says Jamba Juice.
Yeah. So we got our smoothies. We get back in the car. I go to back out of my parking spot, and I'm having a hard time. Like, I'm gassing it, and we're barely moving.
Uh-oh.
And I'm thinking, what is going on?
You broke her car.
Yeah. And after a few seconds, I look down, and I realize her parking brake was up.
Oh, geez.
Then I remembered, oh, man, my sister, she would put her parking brake on every time she stopped and turned the car off, whether she was on a hill or not. It was just kind of a habit.
Mm-hmm.
So she'd put the car, in park, put on the parking brake, turn the car off.
Extra secure.
Yeah. So I drove to Jamba Juice with the parking brake on the whole time, somehow didn't realize it, and only realized it when we were backing out. And so I'm thinking I'm this cool sophomore driver. I have my sister's car. I have my buddies in the car. And then I'm driving with the parking brake. And we can smell, like we roll our windows down and we can smell the parking brake, burning, that it, had burnt.
Uh-huh.
And burnt brakes have a very distinct smell.
Yeah, they're stinky.
Yeah, and so all my friends were kind of laughing. I felt embarrassed, but we went on about our day, and we had a great day. We went and checked out some stores at the mall. We went to a shoe place. We were all into basketball, so we had fun trying on basketball shoes, and we just kind of did our own thing that day and had fun with my sister's car. And I returned it back home that day in one piece, fortunately.
Barely.
And she never knew about it. Until now.
Until now. Oh, all the secrets. And your friends haven't let you live it down since.
No, that one, it was embarrassing, but it wasn't terribly embarrassing or anything like that. So I think it's something they forgot about.
They were just grateful to get out of school.
Yeah. But that's the end of my joyriding story.
Well, then it sounds like that does it for this episode.
That does it. That's a wrap for episode number 8.
Thanks for tuning in another week.
If you have any of your own embarrassing stories that you'd like us to share on an upcoming episode, we'd love to hear them. Send them to us at embarrassingstoriespod@gmail.com, or you can go to our website, embarrassingpodcast.com, and you can submit your story to us there. And just a reminder, embarrassing, 2 R's, 2 S's. Sometimes that's easy to forget.
Yeah, and you can be anonymous. Even if you go to our site, that's where you can put it in. You can give yourself a different name. You can be anonymous. You don't have to tell your deep, dark secrets like Derek did today. Until next time,
have fun,
be safe,
and go create some embarrassing stories we can share. Have another great week, and we look forward to you joining us next time.